Welcome back to Papa's Custom Cars. We've got our box built. As it is sitting right now, it is not going to fit in the car, mainly because the back of it is going to be too close to the back panel, and the sides may be shifted a little bit. So what I need to do now is measure and trim these pieces to fit in that back trunk area. So first thing I'm going to do here is, we know we've got 6 inches on each side of the box, and then we've got a total of 39.5 inches here. So I'm just going to write that on there so I know it. 39.5, and then across this way. Whoop, come here, you. Doesn't want to stay on there. Give me just a second to get it on there. We've also got over here, we've got 40 inches. Oh, hold on a minute. They're fighting. 40 inches exactly. They're 40 1/8, but 40 as far as I'm concerned. And then again here we have, well, we have 40 here too. Guess it just depends on where you take it. So we've got 40 inches across and 40 inches along this way. A little arrow so I know what I'm talking about. Don't lose your place. Where the hole is for the fuel fill, or fuel drain, or fuel pump, fuel area, is the back, so we know that this is the back automatically. So what we need to do now is go ahead and measure out the trunk, and then we'll start trimming all of the upside here to fit the trunk. So that'll be our project for the next couple of days. We don't want to tack them in yet because we're probably going to have to pull these out to trim them. It'll be a lot easier than trying to trim them while they're in place. So we definitely want to leave them loose. And like I say, the back here, between the back panel and the beginning of the hole, is maybe 2 or 3 inches. So I definitely don't want to drop this into place with it the way it is. This is going to shift all the way forward of the trunk and to this side. Mainly because over here on this side we need a little bit of clearance for the shackles underneath the car, so we don't want to end up having to pull a shackle or do something with the rear end and then find out that we're too close to this and have to run into it, because this is going to be permanently mounted in place, welded in the whole 9 yards. That way it's got a good seal and everything. So that's what we're going to attack today, is the trunk, and I'll take you along with me while we get everything measured out. You kind of see how everything goes into the trunk. So give me just a little bit to get everything set up. For you, it'll be about 3 seconds, but we'll see you in a minute. Okay, so on the trunk floor, this is my original measurement for the tank. So I'm going to write what I need here. Remember, we've got 40 inches of sheet metal. Battery's going to go in this area here. So we'll kind of see what we've got for our cutout. We've got frame right there. So we want to come over at least 3 to 4 inches from the frame, because we've got a bolt sticking out 1.5 inches from the shackle. So we definitely want to make sure we've got room for those. I can always turn this bolt around. I know you can't see it, but just imagine this bolt coming through, and it's coming through. When he put them on, I don't think he knew what he was doing. So then we've got our vent tube over here in the corner. So if we measure across from the frame to the other side, the whole opening we have is 26.5 inches this way, and 26 inches this way. So if you remember right, that box itself is 28 inches. I didn't want to cut this all the way open because I wasn't sure where we were going to go with it. But we've got a nice, relatively flat floor on this side, and we're going to come over a little bit more. We can bring the floor down in through here pretty easily just by hammer and dolly. We've got a big lip in this area where the spare tire mounted. It was kind of, recessed, so they curved it here to recess, so that can go away. But generally, we're going to go all the way to the edge of the floor here, hopefully where it's flat. So if we go and we look at 40 inches from end to end, we're looking at that much. So we're not going that far up. And then the same here. Frame to frame is, squeak in there real quick. Yeah, frame to frame is about 41. So if we go the full 40 inches across here, we're definitely going to be encroaching on a whole bunch of stuff. So this unit's going to have to come out. The battery's going to have to come out. This is all in here just temporarily. I put this together just to hold it for now so that I could wire it. But yeah, we're going to have to take a little bit more out of this trunk floor, most definitely, to fit the box. So at least another couple inches out of it. And then, like I say, I've got to pull out that shackle bolt and send it back the other way. When he did the nylon bushings on it, they're not all the way tight. And I'll show you. Let me grab the camera. As you see over on this side, this shackle bolt is sticking this way. It should be going that way. And then this one isn't in all the way, as you can see, nor is the other side. So those kind of have to be loosened anyway to get the bolt through the other side. So I've got some work to do there, clean that up. But this hole itself is 26 by 26, so I can go farther forward with it. Just got to take a look at the rear end, a little bit of clearance on that rear end, and we'll get this sucker put in here. That way we can see where it's going to lay. I want to get it up where it's relatively flat across there. Pull out that hook for the jack and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's kind of where we're at with it in the trunk. The hole was a rough hole to opening the rough hole just to get things where I needed to be. But like I say, we've got to disconnect all this fun stuff and then start cobbling together the floor itself. That's kind of where we're at here. So give me just a bit, and we'll stop you here. And I got to move some stuff around, and we'll bring you back when we're ready. So it's the next day here at Papa's Garage, Papa's Custom Cars, and we are working back on the gas tank drop. Today we're going to measure out the 28-inch square we need cut out of the trunk floor, and then we're going to just start drilling some holes in this and tacking it together like spot welds, basically, just to hold a few of them in place. The back one we're not going to tack in, but we'll tack in these two sides and possibly the front. And that's so we can drop it into place and start measuring out for the sheet metal where we're going to cut it and how long we need it. This one's probably 1 to 2 inches at most, but the sides there's a lot more room so we can get this dropped into place. So that's what we're going to work on today. I'll take you back to the back side of the car and we're going to start cutting away. Today we're going to be removing the electronics. I need to fix the cover on this one to get to the full trunk floor. That way we can get everything cut in and mocked in. I'm going to drill this or cut this at 28 inches, and then I'll just kind of adjust as needed. Also going to, like I say, spot weld the bottom to the sides. I am going to leave this side on and the other side on. I'm not sure if I'm leaving that one on yet. But once I've got this out of the way, I'll know how many inches I can go this way. This is a relatively flat part. Kind of close to flat. It's got a little bit of an uptick here. I'll have to bend that into the metal just to get it to lay flat. Might put a little bit of a crease in it. That way this whole tank stays the same level. I don't want it wavering through the whole thing. So we'll see how that goes as we go. Like I said, I can always cut into it and then come up just a pinch here before I do my fold, and that way the tank stays flat. So Definitely makes a little bit of work, little bit of extra work. I also need to cut this area over here where the gas fill used to be. There was a bump in the floor all the way down. So I'll cut these two so that I can bring them flat, and then I'll tack in some metal crust here. These are the trunk lock is boogered in place with some, we call them booger welds, just a bunch of tacks to hold it into its spot. Just need to move my wiring out of the way here, and now we can get that done, but that's kind of what I'm working on today. Okay, we've got that apart. Let's pull the charger off of the battery, get it to the side. We're probably going to end up pulling the battery out completely. We'll kind of see how that goes. Put this back on here so I don't lose it. So this is a temporary structure for the wiring while so I could move the car, let's put it that way. All right, I'm gonna need looks like a 1/2 inch. I'll go grab some tools. You have side posts and top posts on this battery. The side posts I've got just connectors so that I can attach wiring to there too. No point in having one and not the other. So before we can move anything, we gotta get those apart. This will turn off all the electrics, so don't close your trunk or you won't get in. Got everything kind of wired in. I do need to put some connectors in so that these can be unplugged and such, but at least we can move her out of the way for the time being anyway. And that gets us lots of room over here to work. Got my snips and got my hardcore. Why you don't use one of these for precision cutting. Yeah. A little bit to go up there. I think I'm going to bring in the cutoff wheel because this is definitely a beast. Okay, I'm going to go put the dogs in the house and then we're going to hit this bad boy with the wheel. Okay, so I've broken down and brought out the death wheel, only to find out that it's got issues, but we're going to use it anyway. Need to go ahead and mark a start line here. Little piece of stainless ruler here, which works great as a ruler anyway. That looks good. And there's quite a bit that's got to come off of that side. There. I need a new death wheel too. The minute I plug mine in, it just starts going. So you guys get to listen to a little bit of music while I go do a little bit of cutting. I go grab my death wheel. This thing has cut a lot of metal, so she's definitely had a hard life. The minute you plug it in, it starts going, so we'll get her going and start the cutting. This little corner's got a bunch of bracing in it, so that's what I'm after, is to get to that bracing. Looks like the death wheel is going to be about the only way to get down through it. But yeah, there's a brace that goes just across those two right there. There's some serious bracing up under there though, that's for sure, which is good. It'll definitely give us a solid foundation to connect to. All right, we're going to take a break. Okay, so as you can see, these two braces are what was giving me the very hard time. They come this way and they also go this way. So I'll have to deal with those in a little bit. Also, there's a hump here on the floor. That's going to have to go away. Like I say, I do have 6 inches of metal left over here. The hole is now 28 inches, so I've got another 6 inches of metal I can play with. So I can probably contour it up, cut that out, and then the same with down there. This will have to come out also. My thought was to put the battery here next to it, but looking at the size of this tank, there's going to be no way to put the battery over here. There's just not enough room. It's going to have to stay where it's at. And the frame rail runs right there, so there's no way we're going to do that. We've got about roughly 2.5 inches to the back. We've got roughly 5 inches to the side extra space. Yeah, same here. Can actually go almost 5.5, but there's a curve there. So, and then like I say, we've got all this back here. I don't need to cut this. It's down below. So for mock-up now, this will be fine. But like I say, this hump will have to go. That's got to come off. Don't need that. I'll grind it and see if I can find the spot welds and remove it that way. But at least this way I can get the tank mocked in after I cut the back panel to 2 inches. And then this side here needs to be no more than 5 inches. I'll probably go to 3 inches because that's a nice flat floor area. There's a rib here, and then you've got an uphill right here, so this will all have to be smoothed out. It'll draw down the tank. There is no bracing, so it'll be easy to hammer and dolly this to a slight curve. That way it matches the metal a little bit better. The other side's going to be the hard part because there is a sharp curve there, so I'm going to end up cutting that one against here. It'll be fine, but as soon as it hits this turn, it's going to have to come back, and then I'll bring a piece of sheet metal up. But that's kind of where we're at with everything right now. Just cutting and trimming the trunk area to make it ready for the tank. I will have to cut those panels so that I can get it to fit down in here. I can probably put it in now to see how everything's going to lay out, but I'm better just to cut this one, and then I can lay it in. That one I'll take off completely, and then we'll kind of see how everything goes. And like I said, I've got to cut that notch out. That's going to be in the way, most definitely. Can't have a hump in the middle of it. And like I say, we're not going to need that spare tire anymore, so we can come straight across. As far as that's concerned, we could even come up and go back if we need to. Okay, as I've said, we're going to have to adjust this a little bit. Like I said, this one here, we're going to run, we had 5 inches of space before it bumps into that battery tray, so we're going to go back to 4 inches on this piece. This piece, we're going to leave it the way it is. Same with this one. This is the back. And then the front one here, this is the one by the gas filler neck in the back of the car. The most it can be is going to be 2 inches. We'll have to do some fill-in sheet metal. We can use the sheet metal that we cut to do it, but we want to hold that back to 2 inches. That way we don't have to worry about running into the back of the car. So I've got 2 inches there. We're going to start at, we're going to go 3.5 here. That'll give us plenty of room. And again, 3.5 here. Then, like I say, these two we're not going to cut. We're going to leave them the way they are till we get into the car. We'll pull these, cut these two, spot weld them in, and then see how the back lays up and the other side lays up. Once we've got this in the car, on the back at least, we can mark this and then cut out all that excess metal that we don't need. And then, of course, we'll have to make some corners and that type of thing. But this side gets to be a little bit more complex just because of the way it's going to lay out. But this will give us a good start. I've got the clamp already pulled off. So put that back on real quick because we're going to need it as tight as we can get it because we're going to be cutting on it. You've seen me cut sheet metal and the fun we had with the car anyway. So I'm not going to hang you up and make you watch all that. I'll bring you back when it's all done. No point in fast forwarding through all that fun stuff since you've already seen it once. We want to bring that one back over there. Nice and tight. So we'll bring you back as soon as I get these two cut and we can put it into place. Okay, I'm back. Cut these two pieces. This one at the 3.5 inches. This one at the 2 inches. I also blew some holes in the side of the two sides that I have ready. That way I can put some spot welds on. I'm not going to spot weld all of them. I'm going to probably spot weld about 3 of them till I put it in place, and that way I know for sure that I've got it right where it needs to be. And then same with this other side. I am going to take these over to my drill press, and I am going to put some spot weld holes in this so that not only is it spot welded to the back, but it'll also be spot welded to the bottom. And like I say, we're going to be putting a seam sealer in here, so we won't have to worry about it leaking. But with this many spots, it should give me a really, really good hold. Same with on the bottom. I'm probably going to spread them out. It'll be the opposite on this one. And that way, I know that these are held in place very well, and they're not going to go anywhere. Okay, so while I was off camera, I went ahead and did the rest of these holes with the drill press. I also put some in the sides. That way I can tack them to each other, and there'll be a nice strong foundation. So I've got them spot welds on the bottom, spot welds on this side. Then I'll have also spot welds here on the inside. So that'll give me a nice tight fit. I am going to cut the video short now. I've been pretty much fighting with this sheet metal in the trunk all day. As you saw, it put up a heck of a fight. But next week we'll go ahead and we'll spot weld these together and try to get this box in place in the trunk. I'm not going to do these two, just these two corners, because we've got those measured out. This side and that side definitely are different because this is the slope of the back of the trunk, and that is the side over by that shackle. So there's going to be a long stretch over to that, and then there's the hump in the frame. So I've got to form it to fit that. Whereas this one, not so much. But that should do it for me today. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and call it and get this video out to you like I promised to. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you've ever done this before, if it's helping you, definitely let me know. If it's something more you want to see, the fabrication of sheet metal and all that kind of fun stuff, also send a comment on that. If you've done this kind of thing before and you found an easier way to do it, definitely shoot me a note. I know it's almost done now, but I can always use the comment, and or those that that subscribe to the channel could also use your help, because clearly this is something that you don't do every day. So with that, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week from Papa's Custom Cars.